Okay, so let's start the actual tracing of this file. So first, I'll set this to a bigger view. This one, Alt W, and then here, so you have your model, and then you have your reference. So this is the actual model file, or the actual model object. I'm in the modify panel. So what I will do is I just select it. I'll add another modifier on top of it. Let's say an edit poly modifier. So that's what I use. So this creates an edit poly stack on top of my existing object, so that whenever I model, it will be within this edit poly stack. So think of it as layers in Photoshop. So that means it doesn't affect your actual object directly, or you can remove it later on. So I'll just turn on the vertex selection. So first things first, let's model, or let's align this. So I turn on the vertex selection. I switch my selection mode to, what's this? This is our lasso, the freehand lasso. It will allow me to do this. So I can select this manually, surrounding those parts, and then I will just drag this upwards. So my main concern is the pelvic area first. So let me align that. And then I'll just select this time the upper half of the body. Okay, so up to that. So let's say I'm done with that, and then I'll just start moving on to the to the legs here. There. So I know that this is supposedly the middle part of the leg, right? And then this tree belongs to the knee. So do not worry, or don't focus on the detail tracing yet. You just position them for now. It's just like a loose sketch in drawing. And then this one, this is going to be the shin, or in the middle of it. And then this is going to be for the start of the foot or ankle. So is that. And then now I can start further positioning this leg parts here, there. So let's say I want to drag this onto the side of the body, so that means I will have to include at least the part of the head there, yeah, and even the arm, so that it doesn't look distorted. So something like this there. That's the thickness of the neck. And then I will deselect the neck part, pressing Alt and then drag. Yeah, there, that's deselected now. So now I can continue to drag this there. Okay, that's fine. I can deselect that head part, and let's say we're fine with that. Let's leave the body alone. Let's focus on the leg now. So I'm just doing horizontal drags this time. For the thickness, I can press R and do a scale on the x-axis only to have a symmetrical. Okay, that's that. To have a symmetrical shaping of this, but also I can just use the move tool for following it now. So let's say there is that. Right, just moving that along a little. Oops, I'll just move this a little bit. and then this one here, and I'll just move that. Now on this part, I will just select this. So that's going to be supposedly the lower rib cage part, dragging it to the inwards. Now I'll select this to drag along there for the armpits, let's say. Oops, sorry. I'll deselect the shoulder instead here. Okay, so now I can drag this down carefully. Oops, let's include this. I'll drag this down carefully. So I'm keeping everything aligned as I do things, as I do the dragging. Now this one, we just drag there, so that's going to serve as the shoulder. So again, we don't need to be very precise yet. We are at the point of establishing a base here. So let's say this is going to be the middle of the bicep. Alright. And then this, if I want to turn this, I can press E for rotate A, angle snap, and then just rotate along this area. W for move, and then dragging that down right there, and then down here, there. So this one is going to be the middle of the forearm. So that would mean this is going to be the wrist part there. So let me just select this, drag it a bit behind there. So that down here. And then let's say this is going to be the palm. Not yet concerned of the fingers, just up to the palm there. And now let's go for the head, which I think we are missing still some polygons on the head. I'll explain that later. And then here, inner neck. And then here, dragging it up, dragging it down. Let's say I want this bit inward like that, and then here like that. So we have that, something like this, right? It's about to round up the head, and a little that way there. Okay, so let's say we're done tracing the body, right? I'll just okay, so remember, if you're done tracing the body, this is the front view. So I can here in my edit poly, as you can see, right, in that modifier, I can right click that, rename it, and then I can name this front underscore trace, right? Then I can save. So if ever I make, so now I'm going to trace the side view. So if ever I make a mistake, all I need to do is delete that. But now I'm going to trace the side view. So I can switch to Alt W, and then I can go to front, and then I'll just have this set to side or right side view there, as you can see, right? So what I'll do next is I'll just make sure no selection is turned on here, and then I'll make sure that I have my object selected, and then I'll just add a new edit poly. Okay, so this means this new edit poly is where I will be tracing the side view. So I can just focus on the side view now. Let's say this time, let's say I will hide the rest to start with. So I'll just select all of the polygons, or turn on the polygon selection. Let's select first all of the legs and the pelvic area. Yeah. And then I will just go down here in the edit geometry. Where is that? Here. In the edit geometry, I'll just select that, and I will hide the unselected polygon. So this is in the edit geometry. I'll go to the hide unselected polygon there, and then I can maximize this. Okay, so now I can easily go to 1 or press number 1, and I can access now the vertices and start just selecting it and start once more doing some tracing. Oops, sorry about that. Let me just select the proper vertices, and then I'll just drag it downwards. And then let's select these, dragging it. This, just making sure, is this on 0? Yeah, 0. And then this there. Okay, so I'll select this, drag it a bit forward. Now this is for the shin, drag that, and this is for the knee. So I'm carefully positioning the knee for now, but I will not be doing the precise angles. Don't worry about that. We will have a separate recording for that, or that means we will do the trace detail modeling later on. Now here I'm just following the details for now. There, so that's for the buttocks. This is for the pelvic area. There it is. So let's say that's fine with me. So next is I will just choose here unhide all. So it unhides the vertices. I'll press number 4 so that I will also again unhide all the polygons. There. So next I'll just go back to my perspective view. So this time I will select let's say I'll switch this to the front view. So this time I'll select all of the upper body polygon, and then I'll deselect all of the arm polygons there, and then I will just hide unselected. So those are hidden now. So now I can once more do what I was doing earlier. So I can look over here at the front, right? So let's say I can carefully select first the vertices, pressing 1, and then I can select all of the vertices at the back. Carefully drag them now, right? So let's say this one is the shoulder part. I'll drag it up to there. This is the body. Yeah, this is at least going there. And say now the face. Okay, so this is what I was saying earlier, that I think we are missing some polygons. and that is meant for the face. And I'll press 4 for polygon selection. I'll select this, 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 and this. So it is correct. You have your jaw part, you have your cranial part, but also this is the front half of the face, and then you need another set of polygons to bring out there. So that's the other half of the front of the face there. Because remember, the front half of the face has a jaw, so it's supposed to be moving, and moving parts usually need separate polygons. This I can drag till here, there, saving the work. So now, so far, that's the body. I'll go back to the polygon selection. I'll choose unhide all. I'll press vertices, and again once more unhide all the vertices here, there. Okay, so this time I will be switching to the polygon selection, and I will be Control A, selecting all of it, and then I'll deselect, pressing Alt, I'll deselect and select. Have this. Hide unselected, or sorry, hide selected. There. So now I have the arms, right? So I can select polygons for the arm, or let's just say the edges. So pressing number 2 for edges, and then I'll select these edges for the arm. Okay, and then I'll just move it carefully. Oops. Uh-oh. What happened there? Is that a mistake? No. 2 for edges. Why are these appearing? Okay, so for polygon selection, let's unhide all. Just double checking. Oops. Oh, okay, my mistake. No, it's not. Okay, let's just undo for the errors of it. Okay, so it's back to that status. Let's unhide all. 4. Unhide all. There it is. Press 1 for vertices. Unhide all. Yeah, saving work. Okay, so I think, yeah, those are a lot of commands for it to hold. Saving the work. So let's say what I'll do is I'll just right click, rename this to side trace. Alright, saving the work. So just making sure so that we don't have any errors. So next is I'll just select the polygon selection, and then let's select all of the arm parts, and then let's hide unselected in the edit geometry. Saving the work. Okay, so let's do this by vertices instead. So I'll just select all of the vertices here, because I want to avoid the vertices that are forming the whole of the shoulder or arm. So I can drag that now. Okay, so that's safer. Saving the work. There. So now I will carefully select here at the front and move here at the side. So what I mean is, so for example, I want to select this palm. So now I have those palms selected, but those vertices of the palm selected. Right click, and then I'll move this here. Carefully tracing it properly onto its placements, and then let's say here, right? Careful placement there. Let's say that's correct. Now the wrist, that will twist. Okay. Now let's say I can select or deselect the front part and deselect the back part there. Okay. Next, the elbows. So here are the elbows part. So I just need to place it that a bit. So I can see here that there's an extending part of the elbow. So what I'll do is I will just deselect the front part here, and then I'll just drag this a bit, and then I will deselect those outer parts that I can deselect from here and here, and then I can carefully drag the middle ones outwards for that. Saving work. I'll repeat the same thing with this bicep part here. So I will just scale along the x-axis only there to proportionate the movement, and then I will just W for move tool, Alt, and deselect this part here and drag to create a tricep there. Okay, so far that's fine with me for the side view. And then I can press 1 for vertices to unhide all in the edit geometry, and then press 4 for polygon selection and unhide all. There, saving the work. So now I have a complete trace of my reference. Let's check. There it is. If I can press my material editor M, remember that, to bring out the material editor, and let's disconnect this, and then I'll delete that connection. Yeah. Then I can close this, and as you can see now it becomes solid. I'll turn off the polygon selection there, and then I can press the hierarchy here, effect pivot only, so that I can bring this down to 0. So now my hierarchy or my gizmo is at 0, 0, 0, center of 3D space, saving the work. So now in the modify panel, I can add this. I can add SY or symmetry. There it is. So it starts there. But I think in the side trace I need to move a little bit of this at the back of the head. Yeah, I need this there. Okay, and then pressing 1, I need this to be moving as such. Okay, Alt X if I would like to do a see-through, something like this. There. Okay, those are my final touches on that. Okay, so far that's how the base mesh is looking. So if I if I add a turbo smooth, it will look like, yeah, that. So I'll delete, I'll save the work. So the next thing is deboxification. It's time to debox this trace model that we have created. I'll see you on that lesson.